Welcome back. Behind the Mic is live here on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're now joined on the line by former NFL wide receiver, Super Bowl champion, Willie Gault. Willie, thanks for taking the time today to join us here on the show. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Great to have you on today. We want to talk about your Bears. Obviously, you played for them. You won a Super Bowl there. They're making a lot of news and headlines these days. The big addition of Khalil Mack to that defense has done wonders so far at the beginning of this season. Your take on how everything has gelled with this team through the first couple of weeks of the season?
I mean, being outside looking in, it's looks like they have a pretty good nucleus of a defense. They have great linebacking core, which in '85 we had probably the best linebacking core, arguably, for that 1 year of all time with Mike Singletary, Wilbur Marshall, and Otis Wilson. Seems like they have a trio pretty similar, but I'll take my group, of course, over anyone. But I think once they gel together, they'll be okay, and if they can stay healthy. I think in the NFL this day and time, being healthy as a team going into the playoffs is the most crucial thing to any great team. And there's a lot of good defenses out there. I mean, you talk about the Rams have a great defense. You talk about New England is always going to be there. Green Bay has a great defense. Denver has a good defense. The Raiders have a great defense. So, I mean, defenses win championships, but I think healthy defense win championships also.
Hey, Willie, I got to ask you, man. So I heard you were down there this past Monday night. What was that experience like? You were with Genesis and some of the guys, the Genesis performed at half, and as well as you had some of the guys from your teammates there. What was that experience like?
Well, I'm producing the Monday night halftime shows with ESPN and the Genesis NFL halftime, Monday night halftime shows with that. So we're in Chicago last week. We'll be in Tampa this week, and then Denver next week, and then Green Bay, and so forth. And I like it. I mean, I produced things a lot before, but it gives me opportunity to go out and see some of my old teammates and old players and players I've watched from afar, and it's pretty fun. So it was great to see my teammates. Last week I saw Richard Dent and Otis Wilson, Dennis McKinnon, and some of the guys, which was really great to catch up.
What do you think of first-year head coach Matt Nagy so far with the Bears? You think he's a good fit for this team?
Well, I mean, only time's going to tell. I'm sure he's doing his best, like everyone else is trying to do their best and trying to get the Bears back in the winning ways and in the playoffs and hopefully a championship at some point. That's the ultimate goal, of course. And we're very fortunate to have a coach like Mike Ditka and, of course, a leader of our team, and then a quarterback like Jim McMahon and Walter Payton and Mike Singletary in that defense were amazing. And, we just had a great team that year, and we're arguably one of the best teams ever for that 1 year.
Hey, Willie, Khalil Mack, who does he remind you of from your team in '85? Is he similar to any of the guys that you've played with?
They're different, but I would think he'd probably be more like a Wilbur Marshall, or maybe Otis Wilson. He'll probably be one of those two guys. I probably would lean more toward Wilbur if I would compare him. Wilbur would probably be a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit faster, I'm not sure, but probably stronger too. But yeah, he's probably similar to one of those guys.
Willie Gault joining us here on Behind the Mic, KABC Radio. Mitch Trubisky, second-year quarterback with the Bears. It seems like they're still trying to ease him into the offense, what they're trying to do there in Chicago, and maybe just the NFL in general. And they're relying on the defense. You're used to that, obviously, with this franchise and the team. They've done that historically. But do you think we'll actually start to see them more so kind of take the training wheels off Trubisky and kind of let him spread his wings in this offense?
Well, it's all maturity. Once he understands the game, better, understand what he can do. When, if he can become an Aaron Rodgers from the standpoint of his leadership, then the team will go further. I mean, Aaron is totally controlling that team. He understands everything they're doing. And once Mitch gets to that position, I'm sure he'll be the same. I mean, not comparing him with Aaron because Aaron is such a great player. But, it takes time, even though this is his second year. Once he gets more comfortable with the offense, comfortable with what's happening around him, with defenses, how they're playing him, with teams to rush, the speed of the game, and the decisions he makes, what the alternative should be, what the second receiver, third receiver should be, when to check off. All those things are just, it comes by experience. And experience, there's no experience like the teacher being in the game, and that's the main thing. Once you're in the game, you understand how it flows. I mean, you can sit in a boardroom all day, or in a locker room, or in a meeting room. It's just not the same as being on the field and the action and where it is, and people coming at you and yelling and screaming and hitting you and trying to hurt you. So once you understand all that, then I think you're able to make better decisions.
So, Willie, I was actually sitting here talking to Brad earlier about you, and just told him about like how fast you were. You were like probably one of the fastest receivers in the NFL in your day. And I have to ask you, man, you see a lot of receivers out here in the NFL right now. Who is comparable to you in terms of speed wise, that you would think has the top end speed like yourself? Is Deshaun Jackson, is he actually one of those guys you think, and what he's been doing lately?
No, it'll be Tariq Hill. Tariq Hill's a real deal. I mean, he's really fast. And so that guy's fast. And he's a real, legitimate, fast sprinter guy. I mean, NFL, they get it wrong as far as who they think are fast. I mean, there's football fastness is just somebody who's fast. Tariq Hill is just fast.
Yeah.
And, so he is one of those guys who he's the fastest guy in the league right now. No one can run faster than him in the league, in my opinion. Because of his times. I only go by times. I mean, I know what he's running track, and I know what it transfers into football. I mean, you run it on the track, it's just like running on the football field, no difference. If someone runs, a 10-flat 100 meters on the football field, they're going to be, and no one else can run 10-flat, that means they're faster than anyone else. And Tariq Hill is a real deal.
Wow.
I got to get your take on what it was like to help organize the Super Bowl shuffle with your teammates. You just mentioned before some of the stuff you're doing with Monday Night Football, so this is stuff you've done for a long time now. Take us inside. What was that story was like?
Well, it was we predicted we win the Super Bowl in game number 3 or 4 of the season, which has never been done before. So everybody talk about Joe Namath predicting, which was great. At the Super Bowl, they're going to win. We predicted in game number 3 that we were going to win the Super Bowl. So some people might call us cocky, and some people might have thought we were good. I think it was both. And the fact is that when you're good, you're cocky. And when you're cocky, you're good. So cocky is just confident. We had confidence in our abilities. And we lost that Monday night game, which was game 13th against the Miami Dolphins. And it was difficult to get all the guys to come in because we had to shoot the video that next day. And that was probably the most stressful part because everyone thought it may have been omen, we shouldn't have done it. And, but then Mike Singletary and a couple other guys got together and said, let's go, I'll do it. We've already committed. Let's do it. Let's recommit ourselves to winning. And that we did. And, of course, the rest is history.
Hey, Willie, I got to ask you this also is, what is your take on Vontae Davis? He's been in the league headlines a lot this past week. Retiring at halftime. What is your take on this?
Vontae Davis.
Oh, Willie, you hear me?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me who. I'm sorry. I've been out of it. Tell me about who. What happened?
So Vontae Davis, he's been in the headlines lately.
He's the one that quit at halftime?
Yes, the guy that quit at halftime.
You're right. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, look, the bottom line is this. No one can go into someone else's mind and try to figure out what they're thinking. I mean, we talked so much over the last couple of years about Colin Kaepernick and what he did, and, that's his goal and his mind, and he thought he did what he thought was right. I mean, this guy has done what he thought was right. Would I do it that way? Maybe not, but it's not me. It's him, and we have to respect his thought process, his belief. And look, I'm all for him. He played how many years he played, and he did his best, and he thought it was time to go, and he didn't want to wait until the end of the season. So I got to give him props for that. If that's the way it is, that's the way it is. He called his own shot. He left on his own terms, and I think a lot of guys don't get an opportunity to do that. And so for that, if he's happy, I'm happy for him.
NFL champion Willie Gault joining us here on Behind the Mic. We appreciate the time, Willie, especially joining us on short notice. We'll let you get back to all your other activities at the moment, but we definitely appreciate the time, and we wish you all the best going forward.
Well, Keith is a longtime childhood friend of my son's and his brother, so anytime I can help Keith is always a pleasure.
Thanks, Willie. I appreciate the time, man.
All right. No problem. All right.
Awesome.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
Willie. Take care.
Bye.